Hello everyone and welcome to my lecture video report. And today I'm going to discuss my report. It is entitled Key Concepts, Terminology, and Methodologies in the Analysis of Contemporary Literary Works. In other words, it is all about contemporary literature. Here are the following intended learning outcomes. At the end of the lecture, you should be able to first give a definition of contemporary literature. Second, know the importance of contemporary literature. Third, identify the characteristic of contemporary style. And fourth, discuss how contemporary literature is analyzed. What is contemporary literature? But first, let's know the definition between the contemporary and literature. Contemporary having to do with the present time or current, while literature the writings of a period or of a country, especially those kept alive by their excellence of style or thought. So, what is contemporary literature all about? Contemporary literature is defined as literature written after World War II through the current day. However, the literature of the contemporary period not only refers to a quality or style of writing, but also poetry and prose, which includes a fiction such novels, novellas, essays, and dramatic works. The importance of contemporary literature. In literature, we all know it has a very significant in our society. It is because of that it gives readers or us the knowledge of history and different cultures, and it makes them liberate towards everything such as love, war, justice, and etc. Its same goes as well to contemporary literature. Has a very important role because it reflects a society's social as well as political point of views. Writers in general look for what is trending in their time for their literary work. One example that I indicated here is Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. If you ever read this book or watch the movie adaptation, it is all about the Soviet-Afghan War. Khaled Hosseini and his family are actually immigrant in USA due to escape this kind of circumstances in their country. But Khaled Hosseini wants to express his childhood during the Afghanistan, like how was they are actually happened, but there is something wrong. There's upcoming that would might be give them uncomfortable, and that is the start of the war between the Soviet and the Afghanistan people. So everything was changed when he goes back in Afghanistan. There is a strike. If you not wear a beard or if you not have own beard, they will treat you like a woman and harass you. So yeah, if you done watching this movie adaptation, maybe you can get it what I pointed out. So the reason why the writers are look for what is trending in their time for their literary work because it helps them to eliminate the strength or weakness of society. And that's what Khaled Hosseini did. He wants to know about their situation because it is very important for them to know about it. The contemporary literature helps the readers to develop their rational thinking. We all know that we're actually born as a rational. So it helps us to gain more knowledge. So here are the characteristics of the contemporary styles. Reality-based stories. So one example of reality-based stories is Unbroken, a World War II story of survival, resilience, and redemption by Laura Helen Brand. So I suggest you to watch this movie adaptation entitled Unbroken. So it was actually reality and or true stories all about it. So believable storyline, sometimes portraying a harsher reality or degradation of society. And one example of that literature is The Boy in the Striped Pajamas rather, novel by John Boyne. So this is all about two children who has a different world, which is the one from is Jews and the other one is a followed by the Hitler rules. So yeah. So just if you have a time, then read it. Next is current modern setting. Well defined, realistic, highly developed, and strong character or characters. And also it reflects current political, social, and individual issues. So how to analyze contemporary literature? By Professor Nancy A. Taylor. First, context. You need to analyze first about the context. We all know that everything exists in a context, a framework of circumstances and relations. And one example is about historical context. The more historical context we learn to recognize, the less likely we are to evaluate everything in terms of today. So, like evaluation between the past experiences and the current experiences. Okay, as what I've said, previous slides, like they just want to contribute like what was happened in the past so that it will never happen in the future. I mean, in the next future generation. And okay, so next is consider some of the historical, social, cultural, political influences of the contemporary age. So here are the following. Consider some of the contexts: historical, social, cultural, and political. Next is culture. Culture is may highlight cultural voices and sociological context in literary texts. And there is a reason why it is important to analyze the culture, because analyzing the represented cultural tradition can lead to a greater understanding of that culture. I agree that statement. We know more about that culture even though we didn't go there kind of places. At least this author gave us perception about that area or the setting. Next is studying the history of that culture will create a more enlightening appreciation of cultural attitudes, motivations, and action instead of um, we underestimate their culture. We need to show more. We need to show them appreciation of how their culture is very unique. So it is very important for you to analyze the culture. Next is analyze a question of meaning. Literature shows people struggling to find meaning in a world that doesn't offer us the old assurances of either faith or science, as it breaks down our faith in the supremacy of the rational, scientific human being. And one example is this is between animals, humans, and machines. So there is more questioning about that. What is the goal of the author? Like why he write about this stuff? You know, this is actually between the human and the machines, or argument each other, and so on. So we make give a question about this meaning. You know, because in the okay, in our contemporary world, meaning is not stable or absolute. Yes, it is. Because values and identity are relative to culture, okay? And religion and geography. Yes, it's true actually our own identity and our own values are actually relative to culture, to religion and geography. Next is analyze the defining reality. The authors use metafiction, magical realism, and surrealism to draw our attention to their literary works' relationship or non relationship to reality. Okay? Okay, so again, one of example of like defining reality is like um, Unbroken, a World War II story of survival, resilience, and redemption by Laura Helen Pratt. So this is one of example of a surrealism. Like give more about a realistic. So, um, and another thing also like Edgar Allan Poe. I mean Annabelle by Edgar Allan Poe. If you read that or hear that kind of poem, actually this is very tricky. Okay, I wanted to share you quickly because I thought Edgar Allan Poe write something to his loved ones, and these loved ones like others, like not related about your family, but in reality, he fell in love to his cousin. This is Annabelle Lee, and is a 14-year-old girl. So they are actually related to each other, but he also like an older one, like 21 years old. So he knows what is right and wrong, and he knows um, love to a minor girl is not really appropriate, especially if you guys are related to each other. So this is more surrealism about this Annabelle. So it's somewhat like reality. Next is literature emphasizes the fragmentation in the human experience of contemporary culture and uses it as an artistic strategy. I agree with the statement like human experiences because it shows actually the reality, because we need to define about the reality so that we as a readers also to um, ag- be reflect our experience to the other's experiences, because I know we have a different paths, but we have the common experiences. Lastly is social implications. Contemporary authors emphasize the permeability of old boundaries, okay, between men and women, between the East and the West, and between high and low culture. Okay, it is very important for you to analyze the contemporary literature. Is all about the social implications. Actually, there's a lot, right? For example, this one, like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Mine. As what I've told you, this is the different roles between the young boy who born as a Jew and the other one is born as a Nazi, yeah, a guy. And even though they're actually innocent each other, they treat each other as a friend, even though they have a different um, religion or beliefs. For them, they are actually friends of that. So, so yes, so they didn't having a social implication, but some of the books it has a social implication. Not only for that, it has also challenging borders and limits, including those of decency, and lastly, exploring the marginalized aspects of life and marginalized elements of society. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Like how to analyze contemporary literature by Professor Nancy A. Taylor. First, you need to analyze the context or the culture, a question of meaning, defining reality, and social implication. So that's all my report for today, and thank you for watching and listening my report, and have a nice day. Bye.